Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this morning we discussed the I, the self, who is relating to the world around me. The world consists of people, situations, objects. And we said that I have a perception of myself which is that I am an inadequate or a needy person. I find that I am not happy or satisfied as I am, and that creates in me constantly a need to be satisfied, a need to be happy. At the same time, I do not know how to make myself happy because I am not comfortable with myself. Therefore, I look out for source of happiness. And thus, generally, every relationship, any interaction that I have is looked upon by me as a means of deriving happiness. So relations are extremely important to us because most of our happiness comes from relationships. What we get by way of sense gratification is limited. I mean, how much food can you eat? How many movies can you watch? How much music can you learn? Listen, and so forth. So the gratification we can get through the senses has limitation. And therefore, most of our gratification comes from relationships at the emotional level. And therefore, relationships are very important to us. Every relationship is very precious. And we should know that it is extremely important. Therefore, we should not sacrifice the relationship just, people say, I don't care for you, get lost, etc. As though it doesn't mean anything, we just throw it away. But the relationship is very precious. So as I said, I look upon every relationship, every interaction, let us say, as an occasion to derive satisfaction because I am constantly seeking satisfaction. There is this well-known passage in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad of explaining what it is that we are seeking. A dialogue between sage Yajnavalkya and his wife Maitreyi. When sage Yajnavalkya declared that he is going to leave home and embrace the life of a renunciate, life of a wandering monk, he called his wife and said, I am leaving enough wealth. He had two wives, by the way, Maitreyi and Katyayani. Living enough wealth for you to live comfortably. So even after I leave, there will be no problem between the two of you. So Maitreyi asks that suppose I get the whole earth filled with riches, not only this much wealth, the whole earth filled with riches, will that give me everlasting happiness? The word used there is amrutatvam. Can I become immortal? What it means is that if I get all the wealth on the earth, if I get the whole earth filled with all the riches, can that give me everlasting happiness? Sage Yajna says, no. Wealth or anything cannot give you not only everlasting happiness, cannot give you happiness. With wealth, you can live comfortably. But as far as happiness is concerned, well, not only wealth, nothing wrong with wealth, but nothing outside of you has the capacity really to to make you happy. But why do you say that? I derive happiness, wife would say, I derive happiness from my husband. Or husband may say, I derive happiness from my wife, from my children, from my wealth, from my servants, and from many other things. There are many sources of happiness we have. How do you say that nothing can give me happiness? How do you say money cannot give me happiness? It can give me lots of means of enjoyment. Then Sri Jagnavalkya reveals a great secret of life. Said, hey Maitreyi, you love the husband. It is not for the sake of husband that you love the husband. Navare patyuh kamaya patih priya bhavati, atmanastu kamaya patih priya bhavati. Hey Maitreyi, it is not for the sake of husband that husband is dear to the wife, it is for the sake of one's own self. Maitreyi says, really? She thought maybe all women. I said, no, men also are like that. Navare jaya kamaya jaya priya bhavati, atmanastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati. Wife is dear to husband, not for the sake of the wife, for the sake of the self. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Then Sri Jagnavalkya gives a long list of son and wealth and servants and this and whatever. Everything that we think is dear to us is not dear for their sake, it is dear for the sake of the self. Look at this. Thus, in every relationship, every interaction, I only have one agenda, and that is it's the love for myself, for which in fact I am relating to others. But love for which self? Love for the pleased self. Not only I just love myself, but I love the pleased self. I do not like myself when I am unhappy. I do not like myself when I am displeased. So there is like and dislike for my own self. I do not like myself when I am unhappy, when I am displeased, when I am rejected, when I am insulted, when I have failed, when I am no good in my own perception. I don't like myself. But then I like myself also when I am pleased with myself. So when I say that I am seeking happiness or I am seeking freedom, what am I seeking? I am seeking to be pleased with myself. I love myself. Which self? I love the pleased self. A constant love affair is going on between ourselves and our own self, between myself and my pleased, the ego. The ego loves the pleased self. That's all I love. Whatever else I love for the sake of the pleased self. We are all self-centered. Husband is self-centered. Looks like he loves his wife. But through that, he may love his wife. But through that, his agenda is what? That he loves the pleased self. How long would the husband love the wife? As long as wife facilitates, as long as the wife facilitates the manifestation of the pleased self, as long as the wife makes the husband feel good about himself. So when am I pleased? When I feel good about myself. When I think I'm all right. When I think I'm worthy in my own perception. When I'm worthy, my own perception, I'm able to meet my own expectations. I have expectation of myself that I should be a worthy person. So whenever in my own perception I find myself worthy, then I am pleased with myself. And as long as you help me, make me feel worthy, understand? What I basically want is to be pleased with myself. When do I become pleased with myself? When I am worthy in my own perception. And through every interaction, what am I seeking? I am seeking the other one to facilitate my feeling worthy about myself. So if you treat me in such a manner that is conducive to my feeling worthy, you say, oh, how wonderful you are. Swamiji, what a wonderful speech. Whatever it is, Everybody has their own likes and dislikes, of course. But then, if you know what the Swami likes, and you say, do that, I feel I am worthy. I'm pleased with myself. Then I love you. So, my love for a person, what you call like, is that the person facilitates my feeling worthy, facilitates me to accept myself in my own perception. I have constantly a perception of myself, constantly. As I said, I have an intellect, the nature of which is to judge. And therefore, I am constantly judging myself. I told you this morning that our mind consists of a subject, thought, and other thoughts. So the ego is a subject. I have the intellect with which I judge. I have the mind with which I feel. So this mind is with which I feel about myself also. Mind is like a mirror. And I keep on looking at myself in the mirror and judging as to how I am. How else can I judge? I look at my face in the mirror, whether there is a tilak in my forehead or not, whatever it is, or there is some stain. So the way that I have to judge myself is just as I look at the mirror, so also I constantly look at the mirror of my mind. My mind, emotional faculty is like mirror. I am constantly looking at that and judging myself. Then intellect judges whether I am all right, I am not all right. The judgment takes place in the intellect. And how did the judgment take place? I look at myself in the mind, which is like a mirror, and my mind reflects myself. If the mind is pleased, it reflects a pleased self. If the mind is displeased, it reflects a displeased self. So understand, the mind becomes very important. However a mind reflects me, that's what, if the mind is angry, then it reflects me an angry self. If the mind is compassionate, it reflects the compassionate self. So who am I? How do I judge myself? Who am I at any moment? Whatever the state of my emotional mind is. Understand that most of our interaction takes place at the emotional level. The mind or the emotional manas or the emotional faculty is extremely important. That is where this hatred and love is. So then, my buddhi judges, intellect judges, this person is good. Why? Because that person makes me feel happy. So the mind likes that person. There is an attachment for that person. So who do I love? I love the person who facilitates my feeling worthy of myself, who creates in me a feeling of being pleased with myself. That means that there is a constant demand upon that other person, that person should constantly make me pleased with myself, make me feel worthy in my own perception, make me feel good about myself. That's a burden I in fact throw upon the person with whom I am relating. It's all done unknowingly. Not that I consciously may not do that, but this is the process that is there. And that's the reason why every interaction either creates in me a sense of satisfaction or otherwise. So in any conversation, any little interaction that we have, that interaction leaves a residue. Whether I enjoy that interaction, I did not enjoy it, I hated it, I loved it, I couldn't care for it, I'm indifferent to it, some kind of an impression or residue is created in every interaction. And I have simply one simple agenda, and that is I look upon every interaction as an occasion, an opportunity to derive the sense of being pleased with myself, derive a sense of satisfaction with myself. You may think that we are all self-centered people. Well, that's what we are. Accept that. There's nothing wrong in being self-centered, but we should know how to satisfy that self. Whether the way we are doing it is right or not is a different thing, but then nothing wrong in being self-centered as long as you are enlightened self-centered person. We are self-centered all right, but we are ignorant, unenlightened self-centered people. If you become enlightened self-centered people, then our self-centeredness will be satisfied while satisfying somebody else's self-centeredness also. Simple enlightenment is this, that I am a self-centered person and so everybody is. I am seeking to be pleased with myself and so is everybody is. I expect them to make me happy, so others also do. This is simple enlightenment. Keeping this in mind, that the way I like to be treated by others is the way other people like me to treat them. Very simple. How do I like to be treated by them? I want them to make me happy, that's all. It is true that I become happy when they are understanding of me, they are loving me, when they are compassionate to me, they are forgiving me. Because when a person is understanding me, when a person is loving to me, when a person accepts me, I have a hard time accepting myself. That's why I am seeking others to accept me. Why do I have a hard time accepting myself? Because I find myself a limited being. I want to be always honest, and I find that very often I am not honest. I want to be truthful. I find I am not always truthful. I want to be a loving person. I find that I am not a loving person all the time. I want to be compassionate. I am not always compassionate. There are some inhibitions within my own self which somehow come in the way of my being a loving person, I want to be a loving person, but something within me somehow stifles the manifest expression of my love. I want to be compassionate to people, I want to be sensitive, I want to be empathic, but something within me seems to stifle. And then I become frustrated with my own self. So I do not like myself when I am not a loving person, not a kind person. These are the expectations I have of myself. I have expectation of myself that I should be a loving person, I should be a kind person, I should be a compassionate person. Even a person who appears to be cruel outwardly also has similar expectation of himself or herself. Nobody wants to be a cruel person, understand? Even a cruel person doesn't want to be cruel. Then why is the person cruel? Out of helplessness. There's something within that person that pressurizes, and then that pressure results into cruelty or anger, etc. But that is under pressure, not out of choice. We are gifted with faculty of choice. We have the free will. If we had the choice, we would always be a loving person. If I had a choice, I would always be a kind person, a compassionate person, a truthful person, an honest person. This is what I would be if I had a choice. That is how I like to see myself. I like to see myself an honest person, not a dishonest person. As I said, even a dishonest person does not like to see the self as a dishonest person. Why do you, Swami, you say it is out of compulsion? There is some pressure inside. You know this very famous statement attributed to Duryodhana. Janami dharmam nachame pravrutti, janami adharmam nachame nivrutti. Duryodhana is said to have said, because you don't find this verse in Mahabharata, but somewhere it must be there. But it has become very famous in his name. Where he says, I know what dharma is, I know what righteousness is, I know what it is to be a good person, I know it. Because he also was a highly educated person, they all went through the education along with Pandavas. But somehow I cannot make myself do that. I know what is the right thing to do, somehow I cannot manage to do the right thing. I know what is dharma, but I cannot implement it, cannot practice it, cannot put it into practice. Janami adharma, I know what adharma is. Nachme nivrutti, but I cannot disengage from that. I know what this is adharma. I know this is wrong thing to do, but I cannot stop myself from doing what is wrong, and I cannot make myself doing what is right. So basically everybody knows what is right and what is wrong. Generally speaking, we know. We all know that being truthful is the right thing to do. We all know that being honest is the right thing to do. We all know that being kind is the right thing to do. We know that. How do we know that? Because that's the kind of a treatment we expect from others. I want other people to be kind to me, honest to me, truthful to me. And I know that other people also expect the similar kind of a treatment from me. So we are aware of that. That kind of awareness is given to us, consciousness is given to us. And that's the reason why I don't like myself when I'm not honest. I don't like myself when I'm hurt. I hurt somebody I don't like. I say something which hurts the feeling of other person, and then I regret later on, I should not have said it. When I see somebody unhappy or in pain because of me, I become unhappy later on. At that time, out of anger, I may think this is the right thing to do. But when I come to my senses, I know that's not right. So that is a gift we are given. That's what makes us feel guilty. If you did not have that sense, there would be no guilt. This guilt is a human thing. Nobody else has any guilt. A cat has no guilt. A cat makes a mouse its breakfast, no guilt. That, all these carnivorous animals, we see lizards, for example. In the monsoon in India, there are so many of these insects and wasps and bugs and whatever. Lizards feast. On the wall, you can see they turn up from nowhere. You don't see any lizards in winter when these insects are not there or bugs are not there. They show up from wherever. No problem. No regret. No compunction. Why? That's how the nature has done. Because otherwise this world would not go on. That is why, except for human beings, all the creatures are not given this consciousness. What is the consciousness? That what I expect from them is what they expect from me. That kind of consciousness they don't have. A cat is very clear as to how she should be treated. And she will protect herself and she knows that she doesn't want to die, she doesn't want to be hurt. Very clear. But I don't think she knows that a mouse doesn't want to die, that a mouse doesn't want to hurt. I don't think the cat knows. If the cat knew, poor thing could not survive because it would only suffer from a guilt. Next day it could not eat. How can I do this? This is wrong. There's nothing wrong as far as the cat is concerned because this consciousness that what I expect from the world expects from me, that is not given to them. They are not evolved to that point. Human being is most evolved. And what's that evolution? In terms of sensitivity. That part of sensitivity, so a cat is sensitive about its needs, but not sensitive about the needs of other creatures. And that is how it is. It should be, I guess, that's how nature, that's how Ishvara has designed, then alone this whole process will go on. Creation, sustenance, destruction. So destruction is as much a part and as much a requirement of the universe, because otherwise the universe will overflow with all kinds of creatures, but then that whole cycle must continue, must go on. So destruction is constantly going on without any compunction. A hurricane comes and, a tornado comes and destroys water and it doesn't feel anything. Hurricane doesn't feel anything. Earthquake doesn't feel anything. Volcano doesn't feel anything. Of course, you don't expect them to feel also because they don't have life. But as I said, it just does what is to be done. But we are not like that. If we were like that, I guess life would have been much different. No guilt, it would be nice, Swamiji. You can do what you like and don't feel guilty. You don't have a sense of guilt for doing a dharma. Would it be nice or not? Duryodhana is a miserable person, is it not so? When he says, I know what is right and I can't do it, I know what is wrong and I can't stop it, he must be feeling guilty. So Duryodhana is a free person. He's a big king, a sovereign. So he has all the means of happiness at his command, all the power, everything he has. Is he still free? When Duryodhana relates to somebody, can he relate from the platform of freedom? When he's always manipulating. When he thinks of Pandavas, he's angry. And he just manipulates all the time as to how to put them into difficulties or how to deprive them of their rights. Can we say he's a free person? He says he's not free. There is a compulsion within. Kenapi devena rudisthitena yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. Duryodhana says, there is someone sitting in my heart, and as that entity commands me, that's what I do. Meaning that Duryodhana has no freedom to decide what he does. Meaning what? He is under pressure, under compulsion. And that Duryodhana cannot ever accept himself. He may do whatever he does, he doesn't do that. He is made to do that, understand? As I said, if I had the choice, I would never want adharma in my life. I would always want dharma. It is something within me that pressurizes me, drives me, forces me to go against my own will, against my own value. As Arjuna asked the same question in Bhagavad Gita. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichanna vivarshane baladiva niyojitaha. Very well expressed that. Atha kena prayuktoyam. Impelled by whom? Impelled by what? Does this person commit a sin? Meaning violate the values. Anichannapi, knowing that it is wrong. Knowing that it is wrong, what is it that makes this person do in spite of his knowing that what he is about to do is wrong? Baladiva niyojitaha. Just as a master may force his servants to do things against their own will, and so also, there is something within me that seems to force me to do things against my own will. What is it? So thus, whenever you find a value is violated, it is out of helplessness. So we are helpless. The sense of guilt is a gift given to us, understand? The guilty we feel because of sensitivity. Because I am sensitive to the rights and needs of other people, that's why I feel guilty. I realize that just as I have my own rights, that I want to live and live happily, so also other creatures want to live and live happily. I know that. I also know that I do not want others to come in my way of my pursuit of freedom and happiness. I know that they also do not want me to come in their way of their pursuit of happiness and freedom. I know that I do not want others to trample upon my rights. I know that they also do not want me to trample upon their rights. This is called evolution. This is sensitivity. That's a great gift we have. But that is the basis of all the sense of guilt and feeling miserable about myself. That's what makes me feel unworthy of myself. This consciousness. If it was not there, a cat never feels unworthy. No sense of guilt, no complexes, no problems, no stresses. Because they are not evolved enough to feel the stress, understand? Not that we want to become cat or a dog or buffalo. We don't want, that's not the goal. That's just an example as to how buffalo is free. No stress. No competition. No comparison. That's another problem human being has, comparison all the time. Compare. And who do I compare myself? One who is closest to me. So the spouse compares with the spouse. This comparison and competition goes on everywhere. But that comparison also is not there. As I said, they are not evolved enough to compare. That buffalo can compare itself with the cow. That is not there. So buffalo has no complex that I am inferior or superior. Doesn't feel hurt because buffalo is not worshipped and a cow is worshipped. And buffalo doesn't feel hurt that they are not, even cow doesn't feel that she is worshipped actually. You worship the cow. I don't think cow knows what's going on. Because on different functions we are required to worship the cow. start a function with Go Puja. Like, you're starting to construct something, some major project is there. One of the important steps is worshipping cow. The cow, nobody can deal with that cow. You have to have that person, the keeper of the cow, the caretaker of the cow. He has to bring the cow. And I've done puja a number of times, but you have to be very careful with that cow. Because doesn't know how the cow will feel. What this person is doing to me. You are putting a tilak and she just reacts like that. She thinks I'm even hurting her. You offer a mala, she doesn't care. She just breaks it off. So cow doesn't have any consciousness about being respected and disrespected. Thank God. That much less problem. Otherwise, imagine if dogs and cats and cows failed, you will have so much problem, With a few people we have to deal with, there is enough problem. Suppose all these creatures all started feeling that, it would be very difficult. That's why it is nice to have a dog, a pet, a dog. Nobody has a human being as a pet. Because dog doesn't have this complex, doesn't feel insulted, doesn't feel guilty, it doesn't have those kind of feelings. That's why it's easy to relate. You can easily relate the person who will not feel bad, will not feel insulted, hurt, guilty. How nice would it be to, relate to a person like that? So Swami was talking about people having rock as a pet. Is there something like that? A rock as a pet? That may be the easiest because rock doesn't react. Dog may react to some extent. A dog will not react at all. But how do you relate to a rock? I don't know. You can only relate to a person who responds to you. But people have a rock as a pet. I don't know. I've not seen, but this is what I read. Then they were made for that rock also because that pet may feel lonely, So they were made for that rock also. That's the easiest. Easiest to deal when there is no reaction. The puja is the easiest. That's what we tell a number of our people. Worshipping God is very easy. Where there is an image, an idol, image. Like Lord Dakshinamurti. Oh, one you may have in your puja room. No reaction. So Lord Krishna's form is there, always smiling, no reaction, regardless of how you treat. Because you are not always in a mood, by the way, When you are performing puja every day, it's not consistent that you are always in a mood of worshipping, and sometimes you may not be in a good mood. Sometimes you are unhappy with Krishna also, because he doesn't know what you want him to do. Swamiji, I have been worshipping him for the last 25 years, what has he done for me? And so, you may have a lot of complaints about him. He keeps smiling. Can you imagine that? You try to do that with your spouse and see what the reaction is. That's why very easy to relate to God because non-reacting, accepting. You offer food, if you forgot salt, no complaint. If salt is double the quantity, no complaint. I'm sorry, my Lord, today I just have a little glass of milk, thank you. Today I have some sweets, okay. Today some fruits also, all right. A whole plate, all right. Whatever is okay with him. That's why it's easy to worship. Puja is very easy. Or as I said, pet is relatively also easy because they also seem to show some emotions. They tell me, I thought that they didn't have any complexes. They don't compare themselves with a big cat and small cat and big dog and small dog and street dog. I don't think street dogs feel any neglect as compared to the pet dogs. They're going in the car and, they get sometimes more attention than even their children get, But I don't think that dog feels that I'm honored. As our Swami used to say, in a dog show, hundreds of dogs are there. At the end of the show, the dog that has won the show as nominated as number one, he's taken around. with the master, Who feels proud? Who feels proud of having won this? Not that poor dog, he doesn't know what's going on, Why is he going around? Doesn't know. It's the owner that feels the pride. All complexes are only in the human beings. But to have complex is a sign of evolution, understand, Human being is the most evolved person. We are so evolved that we have complexes. We keep on judging ourselves. We look around and compare ourselves with others and they judge whether I am something better, then I'm proud. I'm not good enough, then I'm depressed. So all this judgment, that's the nature of the intellect. But as I said, if I had the choice, I would always want to be a good person, a kind person. It is something within me that pressurizes me to act against my own value. At that time I may not feel though. When I'm angry I think that's the right thing to do, but later on I realize that what I did is not right. So this human being is helpless. Again, that's the gift of evolution, that I'm helpless. So that guilt, sense of helplessness, all of this is because we are sensitive. Sensitivity is the sign of evolution. Sensitivity is the name of a game. And more evolved a person, more sensitive a person is, more evolved the person is. But more sensitive we are, more likely we are also to be hurt. Or feel unhappy. When I don't understand what's going on, the musician is, singing, I don't know anything better, so everything is fine. I look at his gestures more than anything else and enjoy them. And so, but those who understand whether the Shruti is right or not, this raga is okay, and then whether he's, they have a lot of problem. Swami, I said, it was very good. What do you mean, Swami, good? I don't understand. So everything is good. More you understand, then not many things are good. Everything looks fun. This property is beautiful, wonderful property. Depends on what eyes you have. Swami, you don't know. Look at this one, look at this thing. So it depends on what kind of sensitivity we have. But we are, in a way, helpless with reference to our own impulses. We have those impulses. And why do we have them? Because of our need. What's the need? To be a pleased person. And therefore, somebody who facilitates evoking a pleased person in me, what Vedanta teaches us is that you are the pleased person. That makes us more frustrated actually. Before I listened to Vedanta, I thought everything was okay. Now Vedanta says that Ananda is your nature, your happiness, your limitless. That makes me more frustrated. Because I find I am not limitless. But the limitless self is there. The pleased self is always there. It is not manifest because the manifestation is inhibited, is stifled by something. Like the sun is shining all right, but how the clouds inhibit the manifestation of the light of sun. So also there is some cloud within me that inhibits the manifestation of the pleased self. That deprives me of the pleased self that I am. Otherwise I should be always pleased. If being pleased, happiness is my nature, should I not always be happy? If sweetness is nature of sugar, should not sugar always be sweet? It is always. Heat is the nature of fire, then we always know that fire is hot. There is no such thing as cold fire. Ice is always cold, no such thing as hot ice. Although nowadays there are all kinds of ice creams, by the way, So in India, in Gujarat, in Surat is the place of food. All kinds of innovations go on, and so they like everything spicy. So spicy ice cream also is there. So they can combine anything, I guess, Bitter gourd ice cream, can you believe that? Caramel ice cream, bitter gourd ice cream. Ginger ice cream. Well, usually ice cream is sweet. I mean, you're not spicy. When you eat ice cream and then it's like chili, you don't like that. But generally speaking, as I said, that everything displays its nature. That's how it is with nature. That's why everything is predictable. Inasmuch as everything displays its nature and nothing has the freedom to be other than its nature, therefore we can predict. We know that when we light the fire in the morning, it will be hot. Thank God that fire has no mind and fire doesn't have free will, understand? If the fire had free will, then someday it may choose to be cold also. I'm hot every day, let me be cold someday. It doesn't have that choice. That suits us very well. We are taking it for granted, but then it suits us very well that God or Creator has not provided free will anywhere else, then we can use them to our benefit. So that's why we are using nature, the force of nature to our advantage, because we can predict. Only human being we cannot predict. Everything else we can predict. Because human being has this free will and a choice to be what it is. It is this cloud of neediness, the cloud of expectations, the cloud of not feeling good about myself. It is that cloud which is inhibiting the manifestation of the true nature of myself. It is not that I have to go somewhere else to be a pleased person. I am the pleased person. I don't need to go someplace else to be happy. I am that happiness. But I still need the help of other people to feel happy. Why? I need them to do something so that the happy self becomes manifest. It's not enough to be happy, but the happy self should become manifest. When would it become manifest? When that cloud of neediness or expectation or sadness, when it goes, then alone the happy self becomes manifest. Just as the sun becomes manifest, only when the cloud moves away, then alone you have the glimpse of the sun. Unfortunately, when the cloud comes, again you wait for the glimpse to come. And so also, happiness is our nature, but then we do not seem to have the benefit of being happy all the time because there is something that inhibits the expression or manifestation of happiness. That is our mind. So when our mind is in the state of desiring, expecting, demanding, not feeling good, not accepting, if that very same mind becomes an obstacle to the manifestation of the pleased self, and where that mind is accepting, happy, comfortable, that very mind becomes the mirror to manifest the pleased self. The mind is a mirror. When the mind is distorted, it only reflects a distorted self, an unhappy self. When the mind is like a mirror which is straight and which is clean, that very same mind also reflects me a happy self. So happy self I am. But how do I see myself? As my mind reflects me. Therefore, it is not enough that happiness is our nature, but we also require a mind that is conducive for reflecting that happy self. I don't know how to create that mind. That is why I look at others. That is why every interaction is looked upon by me as an opportunity or a hope that somehow that mind will be created so that I can see myself as a pleased self. And that's a burden that we impose upon whoever we relate with. So as we said in the morning, my relationships, all of them presuppose an agenda. What is my agenda? I expect. What do I expect? I expect whoever I am relating to bring to manifestation that pleased self. to create in me a mind which is conducive to reflect me as a happy self. I want them to do something with my mind. Look at what's happening here. A dog can very well do that because dog doesn't expect that from me. You see, that other person I'm relating to doesn't expect it from me, it becomes relatively easier. That's why Lord Krishna I'm worshipping, he doesn't expect anything from me. It becomes relatively easier to maintain a certain mind, But a dog doesn't expect much from me, expects very little. All I guess I have not had any pet, but I believe that all that the dog wants is to give them the food at the right time and take him for a walk, whatever few needs it has. As we take care of them, that's all. The expectations are very little. Is it not so? Is it right or not? And so it's relatively easy to fulfill the expectation of a dog. And then, because a dog does not expect anything from me, therefore it is easy for me to relate to the dog, because the dog facilitates the manifestation of my pleased self. Because when he doesn't expect anything from me, then I feel the dog loves me. When somebody expects something from me, now that expectation is stifles, is an obstacle to love. Even if you love me, but love with an expectation, that makes me uncomfortable. Dog loves me without expectation. Therefore, dog manages to make me feel comfortable with myself, make me feel good about myself, make me feel accepted, make me feel loved, and that's how that brings to manifestation a pleased self. I love the dog, not for the sake of dog, for the sake of the pleased self. But still, generally I love the dog because most of the time the dog is able to bring out that pleased self from me. It would be nice if the world did not expect anything from me. That would be nice. Like a dog, like a pet. But relating to other human beings is a tough job. You can't please your spouse as easily as you can please that Lord Krishna. Because that Lord Krishna doesn't mind whether there is salt or no salt. But not the spouse. The right quantity of salt, right kind of color of the sambar, amount, how much it has boiled, what is that, everything matters there. To Lord Krishna it doesn't matter. So now we are relating to others who also have expectations. And that is what causes what we may call problems in our relationships. Because one way it would be not easy. I have all expectations, other person has no expectation, very good. They keep fulfilling my expectations, I am happy. But I have expectation, other person also has expectation. What is that I should fulfill their expectation, that is their expectation. So my expectation is they should fulfill my expectation, and their expectation is I should fulfill their expectation. This is what it is. Even understanding this itself is very, creates a lot of relief. Even understanding this. That the two persons who are relating to each other, both of them have their own needs, they are two needy persons relating to each other. If you are relating to a wise person, there is no problem, that's like a dog. Not dog, but No, that is what, in fact, Shankaracharya says. Pashvadibhisya avisheshat. In his commentary on the Brahma Sutra in Adhyasa Bhashya, there is a statement like this, Pashvadibhisya avisheshat. That wise person is like a pashu, like an animal. Not vishesha, not much difference between the two. In what sense? In the sense of that they don't have any complexes. In that kind of sense, not that he is an animal, but as I said, they don't have any complexes. And they are more or less free from demands or expectations, other than their basic need. Even wise person doesn't have this kind of demand, but other creatures have some demands. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunam cha, samanyametat, pashubhir naranam. Every creature wants food. Nidra wants to sleep. Maithunam wants sense gratification. I guess dogs are deprived of that also, I understand, So you do whatever is necessary, so a dog has no need for any sense gratification. Is that true? That's what somebody told me. Whatever, that's human being, he can do anything. For his convenience, he can do anything. So we deprive the dogs of their natural things also, so that all his love is available to me, otherwise they'll be sharing, I guess, Anyway, ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha. Protection from fear, maithuram, sense gratification, nidra, sleeping, ahara, food. We take care of these aspects of the animal, then they're okay. They don't have any other demands. They don't have any emotional demands, generally speaking, because they don't have any emotional complexes. So it's easy to relate to animals. Once you are tuned up with them and they are tuned up with you. It may take some time, I guess, to train them. Obedience training, whatever trainings are there. Every animal, of course, requires to be trained, because we need to train them so that we can relate to them. So a cow also requires a lot of training. And don't think that the cow will allow anybody to milk her. No, only a certain person can milk. Once that is established, then it's okay. It's not that every day then there is a different thing, Once that kind of a harmony is established with an animal, it generally is consistent. Not with another human being. Today in the mood, next day you thought everything is all right, and another cloud comes and another storm comes and things like that. That can happen with human being. That is why people are easy with cows and dogs and things like that, because they're consistent. Relating to a wise person also is no problem, because like this animal. Meaning that no expectations, no demands. So that is why we like to go to certain people. Some people we like. Who do we like? People who do not make demands upon us, who do not have expectations of us. So children like the grandparents more than their own parents. Grandparents have the luxury to spoil the children, little ones, because it's not their responsibility. Responsibility of raising a child belongs to parents. Grandparents, they don't have the responsibility. Nobody's going to say, your grandma did this. If you go to a therapist also, who will they blame? Your mother did this. Nobody will say your grandmother did it, A therapist will say your mother did this and your father did this, and they are the biggest culprits and villains in your life. But grandparents know that they are not part of that. Therefore so the child goes there because all the demands are fulfilled. And grandparents, no expectations. So somebody said, Swamiji, the grandchildren and grandparents have a common enemy. Who is that? They're the parents. But anyway, what I'm saying is just examining some relationships. How comfortable those relationships are when there are no expectations, or when someone makes you feel comforted. The same grandparent has a lot of hard time with his own son, but he has a very nice time with his little grandchild. And the grandchild also has a nice time with his grandfather, because all the demands are fulfilled. Come on, grandpa, become a horse. Okay. His father says, forget it, I don't have time. Father has other things to do. Grandfather is retired, nothing to do. So all the time and everything is available. And I think, world over, not only Indian grandparents, but all of them. Indian grandparents were going out of their way also to do for their children and grandchildren, which is good. And so, the grandfather or mother, grandfather more than even mother. This grandfather was a person nobody could approach. So far, his children never went to him. His spouse also was keeping a distance. Everybody knew him. Nobody went near him. But this little child, he has performed a miracle. He has changed this man. Because he can pull his mustache, he can pull his hair, he can do whatever he wants and get away. His son could not do 1/100th of that, this grandchild can do. You know why? Because his grandfather, who is 65, it is first time in his life that he feels that he is accepted by somebody. This child accepts also the grandparent totally, because he can hug, he can do all kinds of things. And the grandfather feels totally accepted by the child. That's why the child has all the liberty. The spouse has expectation, son has expectation, daughter-in-law expectation, everybody else expectation. And that is why this person is what the person is. But this child has no expectation. The grandfather feels accepted, loved in the first time in his life, I think, That unconditional love that infant is able to give, that this man feels, and that has become so soft. All his softness, you never knew that he could love, Nobody ever saw that. But now you can see how much he is loving. I know one grandfather, when his daughter-in-law went away to her parents' place for a month in vacation, this man became crazy. Without his grandson, he became crazy. That girl had to actually curtail her vacation and come back, because he could not stay without his grandchild. If that is the thing, as I said, when there are no expectations or minimum expectations, how easy it is to relate. I'm just saying, how easy it is to relate. We can see some nice relationships. When the same child grows, even the grandchild also, and starts talking back to the grandfather, then it's a different thing. The grandfather is an Indian grandfather. Same kind of expectation he would have then, once the child grows up. And so, moment you superimpose an expectation, I'm not going to accept it. Please, switch off the TV. Do I have to? Right away the question will come, and that is how. But anyway, so what inhibits the pleased self I want to be are my own needs, emotional needs of being loved, being accepted. Because I don't love myself, I don't accept myself, therefore a need of being loved and being accepted by others. And whenever somebody manages to make me feel loved or accepted, that's when the pleased self manifests. I'm very happy with myself, therefore I'm happy with that person. I love that self of mine, therefore I love this person. And as long as that person has a capability of making me feel pleased with myself, so long that person remains the object of love. So we are all coming from the basic need. In every relationship, we are coming from this basic need, and that is what creates problems. Need is both sides, unfortunately. I have my need of being a pleased person, the one I am relating to also has a need of being a pleased person. And that is why that expectations both ways is quite likely that expectations are not met with. And that's how that interrelation can bring about disappointment, unhappiness, etc. We'll continue with our discussion in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.